Basketball Jones. I got a basketball Jones. I got a basketball Jones. Ooh, baby. Ooh.
Kane is in the building.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
What time is it? Sloan in the corner for the win!
I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
Now Myers to win the league, yes!
And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Stand and
Well, hello and welcome to the Below the Rim show, a show dedicated to the BBL. It's me, Pabz. I'm joined as always by my main man, Ads. How are you, sir?
Mixed.
I know you feel. Mr. Grant Young, the brave-hearted gentleman sat far, far north. How are you, sir?
Very tired. We've been chatting for about an hour before we came on this. It's 10 to 10, and I'm excited to talk about playoffs. So let's go.
Yeah, let's get through. We've got, like you say, we're going to focus
and for the results of the prediction competition.
Yeah, I bet you're looking forward to that. Yeah, we shaped. Let's. We've got.
I think sometimes you sound more Scottish than me.
Anybody who's listened to the voicemail I left you earlier today would disagree entirely. I had a go. I lost it. A certain vowel tripped me up. Anyway, yeah, we're going to hand over most of the show to the playoffs, looking at the playoff matchups that are coming up. We'll make our predictions for the playoff predictions, which is a brand new league leading up to the playoffs. We'll ignore the first one. Doesn't really count. He hasn't. I don't know if he's heard that properly there, Grant. But
choose to ignore defeatism.
We've got a couple of fan questions. We'll have a little quiz, which will be fun to see who's going to play out the final track. We've got to pick a BTR 5 at some point on this one, and that will actually lead to one of our awards. I was going to try and give some idea as the nomination or announce the nominations on this show. I may still do that, but it's going to. There's a long list on the Discord channel. Big shout out to them. Actually, a big shout out. I'll start the show off with to everybody on Twitter who offered me very kind words regarding my last commentary gig. It wasn't a great game, let's be honest, but we had a go at it, and it's been fun to do for the last 3-4 seasons. Started back with the Raiders. And I'm glad people have enjoyed it. Are very humbled and quite emotional regarding
Pabz.
the messages.
Pabz.
Yes, mate.
I'm just going to stop you because I know this is emotional for you, and I'm deadly serious when I say this. But the job that you've done commentating the Patriots and the Raiders for the past few years has been nothing short of incredible. You are, in my opinion, the best commentator in the BBL. And I don't say that lightly because obviously Josh Bett will be going, wait a minute, that's me. But Pabz, I doff my cap to you and what you've done down there for Plymouth. And I know it's hurting a bit right now if it is the last one, but trust me, the people that know, you are the man, Pabz. And I knew that this is going to sound cheesy, but the first time we ever talked, you called me to interview me about Brand 161, and I think we were on the phone for about 3 hours because we were kindred spirits. And
Did you talk about Brand 161 or just old school British basketball?
Pretty much. But nah, Pabz, seriously, what you've done has been amazing, bro. And I'm sure going to miss watching Plymouth games with your voice not there, if that's how it's going to go. I'm Nicholson to an extent. But nah.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. 100. Yeah. Good. Right. Shall we move on? Let's. I need to say thank you for the t-shirts as well. Some of the guys were wearing t-shirts down at Pavilions, which had an image of my face on it, and it was brilliant. The guys from Pat Pack. So I was on their podcast as well last week, doing some Patriot Players Awards, and it was great fun. I hope to go back there again and have a little chat with the fellas because it's a good show. Check it out. But thanks to them, it's been good. Right, let's try and cheer things up a little bit, I guess. Let's take a look quickly at. There was a couple of fixtures that kind of counted towards the end of the season last weekend. In particular, I believe that the Sharks had an opportunity to leapfrog the Giants, and at one stage looked like they were good for it. They were, I think they were in the lead. They were leading Bristol at one point. Did I see that? Or maybe I saw that wrong. I think. Let's have a look. Oh, they went down heavily, made a comeback, not enough. So they didn't lead. Oh, it was the Cheshire game that Cheshire beating Leicester, but obviously Leicester's were assured of that second spot, so no reason for them to field the big teams. But Giants maybe is the bigger discussion point on that one. Ads, my man, there's a few people on Twitter a little bit miffed and annoyed. The Sharks, the Giants even lost their last 6 games. Some conspiracy theories and tin hat stuff coming out down there as well regarding whether or not Vince actually threw some of those games in order to play the Flyers. Well, fill us in, man. Does that make any sense?
Well, let's not go too far into this conspiracy thing because there has been some crazy shit going on this year, as we know.
Yeah.
What to say about it? I mean, it's a strange old season when you are the best offensive team in the league. You finish 6th on the last day of the season because of results around you, and you've not won for 6 games, but you're in the playoffs. You know, that's a bit of a roller coaster of emotions right there. I really felt that they were going to beat Surrey. In predictions, I didn't just say Giants because, it's my team. I thought, yeah, this is the one where they're going to come and give someone a good tonking. Last game of the season. Who better than Surrey, to unfortunately be the whipping boys, but didn't happen that way. Surrey played really well.
Yeah.
Giants, they didn't necessarily play badly. It's just this defense thing. So yeah, it's the same for other clubs. It's an odd end to an odd season, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You're sort of looking down the stats, and it was relatively business as normal. William Lee's still only playing 20 minutes, so he's obviously not fully fit. And, is he going to be any fitter by Thursday?
That's a worry for me, though, Ads.
Oh, it's a worry for me.
He's been 20 minutes since January.
He's not fit. He's not 100% fit.
Yeah, so if he's only playing at 70% fitness going into the playoffs, that's a worry.
Could be anything. Could be like a bursitis. Could be. There's literally anything. It could be that's something that he can play on, just not 100%.
Yeah. Dirk was Dirk, sensational as always. Fletch was Fletch, and Taj was Taj. Kofi Joseph had a good game, 19 points, his biggest game since becoming a Giant. But yeah, I mean, they had the Josh McFoley just went nuts at the end of the game. I mean, he was he couldn't stop scoring. The guy was a bucket. He had a great game.
Well, he took the title for largest amount of points in a single game this season. 38 from him.
Yeah,
was that the record this year?
Yeah, 37 was the highest at that point, which I think was Sloan. Was it David Sloan?
Yeah. So, do we know what the highest index of the season has been? Because he had 40.
There has been a couple of 40s. Whether they've been 41 or 42, I'm not sure. I think Taj Green himself has had a couple of 40s.
I mean, Surrey were really good. I mean, we keep saying this about Surrey, that where they finished doesn't reflect what a good team they actually are. Josh Steele had a great game, but it was all about McFoley for me. He was just outstanding. And when you got a guy in a rhythm like that, you sort of it reminds me of that game down in Plymouth last year, Pabz, when Kofi went off for 45 points or whatever it was.
Yeah, 46, insane.
Yeah, and you lost the game. It's that one where part of you's going, wouldn't it be a shit for McFoley if they didn't win this game?
Yeah.
After putting up numbers like that. So yeah, it was. I was completely wrong in what I was expecting. I shouldn't have underestimated Surrey the way I probably did. But the Giants just look short-staffed.
That's because you are.
Well, we are.
We're
starting to look at, with William being at 70% fitness. Taj, Dirk, and Fletch are a constant. Ant Roberson for me has been. He's up there for my giant of the season in terms of consistency and hard work. But God, at this point in the season, those 4 guys are going to be worn out.
That is the thing. That's the only thing
playing
that
a lot of minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing that kind of quashes the conspiracy that they may have thrown games to get to a kind of situation where they are, literally because players like Dirk are playing 35 minutes, Fletch is playing 33 minutes, Roberson's playing 33 minutes, Green's playing half an hour.
Yeah,
but just to dive in very briefly, I don't want to go too far into it because it is madness. But Giants, as you look at the lineup, the 2 teams above them, and even the Sharks, I think, have the head-to-heads on them, but I guess they fancy themselves more against Bristol. I think it's fallen well for them. I think there's a chance they kind of fancy themselves more against Bristol than they would against the other teams in a weird way.
Well, I mean, this is where the conspiracists come out to play, isn't it? Because if you look at it, they come in 7th. They got to face Leicester. They struggle against Leicester. Yeah, they finish in. Well, it finishes in another way. Caledonia are a problem. Can't seem to beat them. But Bristol we've beaten. So you're sort of going, well, it has worked out. If you were going to choose any of that middle pack that I think that they want to play, it was either going to be, it's going to be Bristol because they're
2-2 with Bristol. Everybody else, I think, around them, they're 3-1. 1-3, I should say.
Possibly Phoenix. I mean, I wanted. I was
Phoenix are 1-3 on them as well, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of hoping it would be Phoenix because I think we owe them a couple. You know what
Possibly
I mean?
A little bit banged up as well. Yeah,
and with it being half an hour away, it's a good series because there's no excuses for we had a long journey or this, that, or the other. It's got the makings of a good little series that. But yeah, it's kind of worked out to their advantage. And it's funny when we spoke this morning, Pabz, because you were still convinced that we had Leicester.
I was, yeah.
Second guess myself going, actually, have we? And yeah. So yeah,
head-to-head on Leicester on the Sharks, yeah.
What I'd say is though that the Giants are going to have to. I think they're going to have to come up with something big on Thursday night at home. They need a big win at Bellevue if they're going to square off with Bristol. It's going to be tough because obviously a Thursday night playoff game isn't easy in terms of having a big crowd. We're going to do everything we can to get everybody in the house to support them along, but they need to get off to a good one at Bellevue because obviously Bristol's a tough place to go.
Definitely. Grant, my man, do you like the symmetry of the league finish, by the way?
That's right up my street. When that was pointed out on the socials today, and I was
was it?
Yeah, was that pointed? What do you mean by symmetry? As in the records?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't notice that at first. It was when, I think it might have been like a Dan or someone, Dan Rutledge or whoever.
Oh, right.
Pointed out, and I was just like, that's fascinating.
It's great, isn't it? 50-50, 38-38, 34-34, 22-22. 64 at the top, 8 at the bottom.
Like, yeah, brilliant. Like, that doesn't happen. But see, if we're saying about matchups, if we're talking about that Flyers-Giants matchup.
We'll talk about matchups in a bit, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go on, no, you can...
No, I'm fascinated to see what Giants and Flyers can do, because we say this, but we've obviously know that like Flyers have been out without VJ King, and they've still beaten Sharks at the weekend.
Is he out long term, or is he back for the playoffs?
I'm going to guess back for the playoffs.
Because he was playing kind of hurt, and then once they couldn't get second, I think no need to make it worse, whatever it was.
Exactly, but if you take him out, if he is hurt, they've only really got Watson Gale and Leslie Smith off the bench. Corey Samuels gives them minutes as like that kind of hustle defense kind of guy, but that could be the big swinging factor, is how fits VJ King and how fits
it could certainly
William Lee. So that could be a really interesting kind of narrative.
Well, I mean, it evens it up a bit, doesn't it? Because even if he doesn't play on Thursday, he might play in the home game. You know, you just don't know. At least Bristol know that William Lee is probably going to play 20, 25 minutes. But then again, is Vince just held off his minutes until this game, and all of a sudden William Lee plays 30 minutes again? Who knows?
Let's hold on 2 seconds.
The only thing I'm going to say is a lot of coaches were resting players. I mean, the Cheshire Leicester game was pretty entertaining last night, and Rob rested most of his main guys.
Yeah, well, there's no. Yeah, again, they're assured of that second spot. The other game, of course, that was going to take any sway on things was Newcastle Eagles, Plymouth City Patriots, and looked like at the start it was going to be a hell of a game. Both teams kind of going neck and neck, and then, unfortunately for Patriots fans, the recent run of form,
the wheels came off, didn't it?
Played true to it. Well, last 13 games, Patriots have won one game, and that was against Surrey in a very close affair. Eagles have been on a bit of a storm. I mean, huge shout out to Hassan French, who, I mean, that is one of the worst injuries I think I've ever seen in the flesh. It was.
How long did the game stop for? Because at that moment was when I diverted my attention to what was kind of going on at our whole game. But
10,
it was
15 minutes.
10 minutes, because
I didn't see it. When was it?
Halfway through the second quarter.
Partway through the second. I think there was 6 minutes left in the second quarter.
Because I was talking to loads of different people, and everyone was just kind of checking up the score and like, shit, what's happened up there? And people went and seen, and you saw him kind of fall down over his knee. And
when you look at the shot from behind, it goes sideways.
It's the video of it, because I haven't actually seen it.
Yeah, there's a block of replay. They didn't play a direct replay of it because it looked too horrendous, and then they pieced together some replays from the action that had just happened. And because it was a big block, they put it in the replay reel, and you could see him land. It was horrendous. But the dude went straight to hospital. Like, they took him to hospital.
I've not seen any update on it on socials today as well.
No, David Cohn
to him, and hopefully he's okay.
David Cohn went down late in the game as well. He always has a heavily strapped right knee, and it looked like he'd aggravated something in that. So it may just be a niggle. He likes to be a bit niggly, doesn't he? So we'll see how that goes. Big shout out to the Patriots fans in the front row who all bought scorecards for every time David Cohn threw himself on the floor. They held up 3.5, 3.4. Sorry, they all said 3.4. So his scores never changed regardless of the dive. But yeah, it was great fun. But yeah, the disappointing end to Patriots season. It all fell apart basically Christmas, I guess, when Antonio Williams and Troy Simons went their separate ways from the club, and they never really found an identity beyond that. They had a couple of spells where it looked like they turned it round, and then it just didn't pan out, which is a shame. But and bless him, Tahir meant no malice in what he tweeted prior to the game, saying that, looking at and literally I he can't do anything other than kind of agree with the fact that Pats have been a tough watch last 13 games. The majority of those games they lost by 20 plus points. It is probably better that the Eagles went through with some momentum, challenging teams to a degree a lot more so than the Patriots have been doing. And as much as it pains me to say, they're probably, they're the more worthy team because they've got to where they've got to the end and they're above.
I mean,
it's agonising that it's the same points, 22 points.
Yeah.
It's literally basket difference that's decided it, but that's it.
Well, I'm gutted for Plymouth and the team and the fans. Fair play to Newcastle for
what a comeback!
It around. I mean, they saw an opportunity and they went for it.
Well, I think we wrote them off back in January. So
pretty much, and even last week I was going on about the Patriots will make it.
As we've been saying since probably January, February.
I know.
Done. So good on them.
So well done.
It's a fair play to Newcastle.
Ben Motford was unreal.
Well, isn't that just Ben Motford all over that? You know what I mean? He's either completely in it and involved or not.
If you look at his index though, it's the guy, and it's not a knocking anyway, but he literally what he does is score.
Oh yeah.
It's 14 points, 14 index.
He's a shooter. He's a wing.
50%, 4 from 8, from 3. Amazing.
That's his job. That's what he is in that team to do. That's what.
It's as if he went to the GB stuff, didn't play, saw the stuff in social media, probably heard us slate him as well. I thought, you know what, fine then. Fuck yous. I want to show you how to do it.
Yeah. He's been very good.
I don't think we've ever slated Ben Motford. I think we've just basically described the play that Ben Motford is. I mean,
like you said, if he's on it, he's on it. If he's not, it's a tough game.
Exactly, and that is life as a wing type player. If you're a shooter, you're either on or you're off. You don't tend to have middle of the road games, do you? It's kind of an all or nothing type role, and that's not calling him out or anything. That's just how it is. I mean, Ben Motford's a fine BBL player. He's done great for GB at times as well, but he just has those nights. And in fairness to Motford, it's big games that he tends to do it in as well.
Absolutely,
big game Motford. There he is. There's another nickname that should stick. But I got a lot of time for him just because from what I've read, we're born in the same hospital. So shout out to the Shore and Massive. There you go. But so that set the precedents and that set the playoff picture to what it is. So let's take no further ado and let's head in to chat about, we've alluded to some of it already, the matchups that we are facing. I want to start off as well by saying there's a bit of confusion among some people. I talked about it with ads earlier today, and we were both kind of not sure how it was going to go, and I've spoken to some people subsequently, and they're not sure either. The seeding rules. So we know the seeding for the first round, essentially the quarterfinals. The highest seed plays lowest seed. So 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5. And the highest seed is meant to get the choice as to which leg they play at home, whether they play it first or second. All right. Sometimes that's down to venue. Exactly. So sometimes that can't be avoided. But when it goes to the next round, I'm not sure how many years, to be honest, but the number of years, it is rather than stay as a bracket, so 1 and 8, 2 and 7, or even if they switch that, 1 and 8, 4 and 5, whatever, rather than a bracket with a clear split so that the first 2 seeds are separate and could only ever potentially meet in the final, generally what happens is the highest seed plays the lowest seed. So if the Lions beat the Eagles, they then will get, and let's say the Giants beat the Flyers, and all the other seeds go to plan. It'd be the Giants that will play the Lions because they're the 6th seed. They'll be the lowest seed. As far as I'm aware, that's what's happening. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
There's been a few people that think that might not be the case.
I had it in my head that the only way that we get London in the playoffs is if it's in the final, but
then you would have had today, like, think about it, the way they've built and done the fixture card, you would have had them produce it in a bracket form because, let's be honest, everyone loves a bracket from NBA to NCAA, and we're talking about the American of our stuff, then there would have been a bracket produced instantly as a graphic. So
if they were going to do it that way as well, they wouldn't put Lions and Riders in the same half of the bracket, if you see what I mean.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's how it's obviously written, because obviously 1, 2, 3, 4 is in order. essentially.
Yep.
So we're of agreement. We're assuming that the highest seed plays lowest seed in the semis, and then obviously the final itself in the O2. We've done a bracket which we've left obviously blank by the first round for everybody to fill in at home. If you want to do that, go to @belowthepod. Have a look at our feed, and we've got a BTR playoff bracket on there. Print it off, fill it in, hang it around the office, whatever you want to do. Chalk off the games as they go, and see what you end up with. But it should be fun. But let's talk about the matchup. Let's go in order. London Lions, Newcastle Eagles. Is there any way there can be an upset in that one?
I mean, it's basketball, yeah, but no, not a chance. Not the way I saw London Lions play last night, even in a non-competitive game. Yeah. Wow. Mo Solowade, who we were saying hasn't hit the lights coming into the league first time in the BBL, has been incredible the past month or so. Like his shooting numbers from yesterday are phenomenal. I think he was 5 from 5 at one point from 3. Anything that man touched went through the net. Didn't swish the net. Guy was just oozing confidence. He was incredible. Plus, London have that returning guy of Tariq Phillips, and I spoke to Ryan Smith after the game last night, and he kind of made a comment about how it's testament to his determination to get back fit. He was supposed to be out for the season. He wasn't meant to be back till next season. So he's putting the hard yards, the miles to get the recovery with the medical teams at London and whoever else to get back on court before the playoffs. And the
huge addition as well, isn't it? Yeah.
And if they're missing Decker, they've just added Phillips, and they've just upgraded that position because he is a phenomenal talent.
Do you think he's better than Connor Washington?
And that can't even be a discussion point. Like that is blasphemy. If anyone's ever suggested that, that's complete nonsense. I've never seen someone.
I love Connor Washington. Don't get me wrong, but
that's just that.
It's been mentioned in the past. And the person who said it will know exactly who they are, but carry on.
That can't have been a very good debate for that person because that's just absolute nonsense. And Connor Washington is a really solid BBL player, but Tariq Phillips is going to be a difference maker. Like that guy, you can tell he's got I was standing talking to one of the London people yesterday, and he was standing next to us, and he just had it in his eye of that kind of glint of delight and happiness to be back on the court. And honestly, London had a different gear and get up the floor last night, and it was a nothing game. Like it was actually quite amazing to watch the ball movement. Some of the dunks they have off Phillips to Nelson up to Sharma were just incredible. And okay, we went very much a lot. Oscar Baldwin played 25 minutes. Kemp played 13 or 15 minutes, and the other guys played 10 and 5, young guys. And Johnny Bunyan was played. Johnny Bunyan in the first quarter, live stats said 9 minutes 60 seconds. That's what live stats said. Tell me how that makes sense. But anyway, Lions actually look, and they've looked like Caboza's going to be back next week. I think Decker will play the playoffs, and they're just going to get better.
Well, he might not even have to play early on, like you say. I mean, that's the story all season long. They've not necessarily needed him just because of the depth of that squad. But when they need him to be good, he can do that. Ads, my man, are you a curry guy? Do you like a curry?
Yeah.
I'm wondering now if you could, and I'll get Grant to do this as well. But I'm thinking now we're going to introduce. I've made this up on the spot. It might be shite. I might cut it out. Who knows? If it's still in, good. You'll enjoy it. Let's go for the curry chart regarding each of these fixtures as to whether or not we think there's going to be an upset based on the hotness of the curry.
Right.
London Lions, Newcastle Eagles. Bit of a korma?
Bit of a korma.
BTR just takes things to new levels and content. Absolutely content creations we do, man. Wow.
The curry it could call it the curry test. I don't know. Well, I think it could well be.
a korma without any rice,
Korma no rice.
or an arm bread,
Oh,
or an onion bhaji or 5. Yeah, I think it's going to be a
Korma. Grant,
creamy korma.
you go with that? Creamy korma for the Lions, Newcastle Eagles? No upsets there. Maybe this refers to more what happens on the way out in terms of upsets. Is it going to be an upset? But who knows?
But then Ben Mockford might just Vindaloo it for the night. You know what I mean?
He's the Vindaloo factor.
Yeah. Not how many chilies are on the menu. It's how many Ben Mockfords are on the menu for this one.
Go on, my man.
oh man! If Newcastle are going to be down French, Hamlet's not been about. If Cohen's
he didn't play a game. Yeah.
then this could be very Korma.
I think we're all in agreement on that one. We'll obviously monitor that as we go through this, this round, but obviously going to the semi-finals, whether or not there could be a bit of a, we could upgrade to a Tika, a Jalfrezi, a Madras, or even a Vindaloo. Who knows? But
Where would you put a Chesney that weekend a bit sweet and sour? Do you mean where would you have that in the scale?
A what?
A Chesney?
I don't know what that is, mate. I thought that was an old band from South London. Chesney and Dave, isn't it? I don't know.
Grant, I don't think we have Chesneys. Is it battered?
No, it's not deep fried. It's definitely not deep fried. I don't get it from that shop.
Right.
These are missing.
The musical factor, the Chesney and Dave. Sorry, no, this. We like to wrap it though, don't we, fellas? No. Sorry, I made myself laugh. Someone's got to, I suppose. Next one up. Leicester Riders, Sheffield Sharks. Is this? This looks to me like a little bit more of a tasty matchup. I don't mean that in a curry sense, not yet. We'll talk about that in a second. But
I was going to say this one's a bit of a lambooner, isn't it?
It is. It does. It feels like it's got a bit more to it. The Sharks have been maybe a little bit dicey coming in of late. They gave a bit of a scare to teams earlier on coming in with that new lineup they've got, but they've managed to knock off the likes of the Giants, the Phoenix, the Eagles. When the Eagles were on a good run, they managed to kind of silence them to a degree, and they've run teams close as well. They've had a number of close fixtures, and beat the Leicester Riders as well. A little bit earlier on in the season after they'd made their new signings. Grant, my man, this matchup looks a little bit more appealing.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think it depends. Like both teams have kind of rested players, or Leicester certainly did coming into it. We've kind of said that Leicester may be flattered to deceive this season. I wonder how.
That might be a hot take. Yeah,
like they have they've not ran away with anything. Whelan's but they've dealt with injuries but then every team's dealt with injuries. Loving missed games, Whelan's missed games. They've had issues at point guard. Connor Washington's hardly played this season. Yeah, and then obviously they had who got injured for them? Walker got injured for them.
Yeah, early doors. That was a shame. They had three point guards come and go very quickly.
Aaron Menzies is out now as well, isn't he?
Is he really? I missed that.
Well, I mean, he got hurt not last game, the game before. I mean, hopefully he'll be back for the playoffs. But I mean, you're gonna miss having a 7-2 guy under the basket in the playoffs. You know what I mean? And
yeah, of course.
Aaron Menzies is gone from strength to strength this season for me. I mean, obviously I'm biased towards my Magic alumni, but he's started to really come through.
If they're forced to play a little bit smaller without Menzies, does that make them a little bit more of a safe bet in terms of matchup? Because the Sharks have been playing a little bit smaller for a while now, and it suited their style of play. Could that be a factor?
Well, look, what Leicester have got that Sheffield and, well, quite frankly, not many other teams have got, is they've got one of the smartest point guards in the league. in Kimball McKenzie, and that guy constantly looks to make things happen. You know, he's for me, he's far and away most improved player in the league this year. You know, the guy's really stepped up, and you know, everything goes through him. Kimball McKenzie is a problem for Sheffield, like he's been a problem for everybody this season, because he is one intelligent basketball player, and a lot of what Leicester do goes through him. Now, I really want my guy, Mark Loving, to come up big in the playoffs, because that dude has been awesome, but the last couple of games he's been pretty quiet. I think, obviously, Rob rested a lot of his players against Cheshire on Sunday night, but if Zach Jackson comes up big as well, that guy's been a beast as well, hasn't he?
Action Jackson.
Yeah. So, I mean, Leicester, for me, Leicester as dangerous as ever. You know, who wants to play Leicester in the playoffs? Nobody.
They've certainly got the pedigree for it, haven't they?
Of course they have. They've got plenty of experience. They've got Rob as their coach, and they've got a bloody good team. You know, by anybody's standards. Hopefully, they get through it without the injuries causing them too much of a problem. And I really hope that Aaron Menzies does come back for the playoffs, because they're going to be needing him later on if they get through Sheffield. But I can't see him slipping up to Sheffield, to be honest. I mean, Sheffield have been playing some really nice ball of late, but I just think experience. I haven't even mentioned Patrick Whelan yet. So, what more is there to say on that one, as far as I'm concerned?
Well, let's hit the curry-o-meter, and what do we reckon in terms of spiciness on this one?
See, I think Sheffield could really cause a bit of an upset here. I think they might add a wee bit of like haggis pakora to the order here and just kind of go totally different. They're playing like a decent brand of basketball. They've got legitimately 8 deep, and yeah, I don't dislike watching them now, to the stage where I think they match up probably pretty well with Leicester. Are they more athletic than Leicester? I'd argue yes. Pipkins has been an absolute beast for them. Bennett Cook's had a good season for them.
Yeah.
Kipper coming off the bench seems to work, and Ramsey.
He's a much better player off the bench than he is if he starts.
Yeah, I think he's having such a good impact. And so I actually almost get to the stage where you think, are Sheffield a deeper team now than Leicester?
They're deeper, but they may be deeper, but I just don't think they've got the same quality as Leicester have got.
Do you disagree with the haggis pakora?
No, I mean, I think that there's every reason to possibly add, that really hot, when you get your poppadoms and you get the little dishes with the onion thing, the yogurt
lime
thing,
chili
but then
lime.
there's that lime one that blows your head off, but you can't stop eating it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like that.
Never had that before.
Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah, I'll go with that. That sounds about right. Let's go on.
No, I wonder. I think that game could come down to aggregate score rather than someone winning both games.
Interesting, yeah. That's the first time we've mentioned aggregate. That is definitely a thing.
Possibly. Yeah.
So the first leg is in Sheffield, so there's every chance that in front of the blue curtain they could take an advantage back to Leicester.
Who had the league head-to-head? Was it split, or did Sheffield have that?
Well, I know Sheffield took one off them. I think it may well be 3-1.
Knowing Sheffield, it'll be something irritating, like they win the first one, and then Leicester have to win by a certain amount in the second game.
I think you might be right. I'm just checking see what
that
would
be a typically Sheffield manoeuvre. Did you see as well what Elliot from Hooping and Luton did the other day?
No.
He presented the Sharks with Terrell Myers' jersey.
I saw the jersey spinning.
From the game.
Yeah. Was it his actual game-worn jersey?
Yeah.
Shut up.
I saw Elliot the other day. He's like, "Oh, guess what I'm doing?" And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, I'm presenting the Sharks with Terrell Myers' jersey.
Where'd he get it?
So I don't know. I had this idea though that we should do like a funny skit where I find it somewhere and he comes in. He comes in the room just as I'm about to set it on fire and goes, "What you do? No. What was the thing we had now? Me and who was it? It was really funny. Me and Jason Swain find this jersey, and we're about to set it on fire. And Atiba Lyons walks in with Mike Tuck and goes, "What are you two doing?" And there's a bit of a scuffle.
I've got time for that. That's amazing.
And then you see them lifting it to the rafters, but it's got it looks like
Scorched.
It looks like Robinson Crusoe's jersey.
Like a crop top.
It's all where we've been fighting over it.
Listen, I think that's a good idea, except for the fact that once you had a flame in your hand and that jersey, I don't think you'd be able to stop yourself.
No. Yeah. I was going to be wearing a Tony Dorsey jersey. Yeah. Jason Swain wearing his own jersey. And then it was going to be like you've got your bad conscience talking to you in one ear and your good conscience in the other ear, you know what I mean? And my bad conscience is going to be someone like Trez going, do it.
I like it a lot.
Anyway, I digress.
Well, let's move on. Let's move on to the Flyers and Giants and see if that tips the Curry scale in any way, shape or form. Bristol Flyers obviously finished third. Manchester Giants finished sixth. Giants coming into this on a 6-game losing streak, including that last game loss to the Surrey Scorchers, bottom of the table. Let's go Grant first. Let's leave Ads to see what he's going to come up with. Grant, my man, is this, because we talked about this last week as being the one that looked like it could be the kind of potentially the biggest upset, looking at the Flyers maybe a bit banged up, and Giants at that stage we were saying they'd lost 5, but 3 of those games were in close fashion against the likes of the Riders and the Lions. So what do we think?
I feel like I'm going to change what I probably said last week, which makes for even better content, doesn't it? But no, I generally think Flyers could walk away with this one. Generally think that if Flyers have VJ King, they go slightly deeper, probably less banged up. And then it depends if William Lee plays 30 minutes. Like I just don't know. I feel like it's one of those ones. It could be Cormac, it could be very spicy, it could be that Vindaloo, it has a lots of could be, should be's, and what's it going to be's. And it could just be pretty garlic and coriander naan.
Not quite a Joel Frazee, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a tough one to call because, like you said last week, we were of the opinion this could be really tasty. This could be a very interesting matchup. Looking at how the Lions have, sorry, not the Lions. Looking at how the Giants have been kind of gearing up towards the playoffs with focusing on the playoffs and whatnot, regardless of losing 5. But maybe that loss against Surrey has pushed us in the other direction. But maybe that's what Vince wants.
But then, and then you've got guys like Dirk. When you think of who's on that Manchester team, you've got guys who are winners and Dirk and Ramon, and you've got William Lee that's done good things at Leicester. You've got Kofi that when he wants to be can be unreal from 3. You've got guys who are hustling inside from Rogers. Is it Rogerson or Robinson?
Roberson.
Or both?
Roberson.
He's very good.
Both those guys bring their defense or try and bring the kind of intensity as well, and it's good. It's a good matchup, but I do think Bristol can win that one maybe pretty comfortably because of their home form.
Yeah. Ads, my man, have the Giants got enough to pull this off?
Oh, they've definitely got enough to pull it off. No doubt about that, but it's going to come down to how do they shut down Bristol on the defensive end of the floor. I'm not worried about the firepower that we've got. It's going to come down to defense because Bristol are a tough team. I've got this feeling that one of these games is, I don't know how it's going to pan out, but I think there's going to be a nail biter involved, whether it's the home game on Thursday.
Yeah.
You know, I've just got this feeling there's going to be overtime involved. I don't know why.
Imagine that over the 2 legs, it ends up going OT.
It'll be something crazy like that. I mean, we like to, you know, live by the seat of our pants or whatever. What is it?
Fly by the seat of your pants.
Fly by this, yeah. You know, I want them to do it really badly, and I think they've got a very good chance of doing so. And the first game is going to be crucial as to what happens. You know, I think it's going to be the Giants have this thing of close games at home, and I've got a feeling it's going to be a close game at home. Which I think the second game it's going to come down to, it's aggregate, but there's not going to be more than a couple of points in it. You know what I mean? And I think it's just going to be a close series. I just hope that the experience of Ramon and Dirk and William Lee is enough. I mean, again, look, Vince has been here a million times before as well. He knows what the playoffs are all about. You know, the guys are going to be up for it. They've not won a game for 6 games. Guys like Fletch, I'd imagine, are sat there going, "How have we finished in 7th? How has this happened?
Yeah,
you know, how are we not in the top 4?"
Some of the fans were saying similar things online recently as well. Which
I mean, it is crazy when we say every week you look at that roster and go, sorry, where did this team finish? And it is madness. It's utter madness.
What are we going for on the scale then? On the old, this feels like it's more than a Korma, but maybe not as hot as we thought it was going to be.
No, I think it's a decent Joel Frazee.
Oh, that has gone Joel Frazee. What was your call on it, Grant?
I feel like this series could be the one where you're dead excited for your veg pakora, and you open the tub, and there's just flakes of like rubbish. It's just not good. It's all flaked off. It should be, you expect something, and it's just not.
A disappointing pakora. Okay. It's gonna be fun trying to find the images of these things.
Who has vegetable pakoras, by the way?
Exactly, that's how disappointing it is. Come on, I've already gone haggis pakora for something else, so...
I love it. Good stuff. Right. Last one, possibly the tastiest of all the BBL playoff fixtures. It is, of course, a repeat of the BBL Trophy final. The Caledonia Gladiators finish in 4th place, Cheshire Phoenix in 5th, and, well, theoretically, if all the seeds go to plan, that would set the Gladiators up with the Lions in the semi-final. But Cheshire Phoenix have got that element of revenge, unfinished business, if you like, from the trophy final. It's over 2 legs. This one seems like it's the most appealing. Is that fair, Ads, my man?
Definitely. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really, really fun series. There's 2 teams that are both so up for it. You know, Cheshire are going to want a bit of redemption from that final, but then Sloan's going to want to prove that it's no fluke, and you know, he's the man. There's going to be some great matchups. Laurie Aston has been sensational all year, as far as I'm concerned. Jamel Anderson has been superb this year, and he was awesome last night, especially down the stretch. You know, he needed to play good defense in that last minute of the game, and he did just that. And you know, but guys like David Ulf have come through. Ulf had a great game yesterday. He had a double-double, and I think he'd just been voted, was it Fans Player of the Year or Players Player of the Year? I think it was Players Player of the Year he won. And you could just see it in his game that he was really chuffed to have got it. And that's Ulf. He's a hard-working guy. I refer back to, 3 or 4 years ago when he got his shot at the BBL when Giants were massively understaffed. They were having an awful season. And Danny Byrne got him and Jack Hudson in to come from D2 with Liverpool to the BBL, and they both did really well. But Ulf especially, you were sort of looking at him going, why has this guy not been in the BBL for longer? Because he's huge.
Yeah.
He is huge.
Big dude. He's quite mobile as well. Yeah.
Yeah, very mobile, very athletic for his size, and he was awesome yesterday. He was awesome. So you're looking at guys like that who are going to be up for it, and yeah, I think this is a taste that I wouldn't want to call it, to be honest. I mean, God, these two teams at the moment. I mean, have I got to say who I think is going to win?
Not yet. We're doing predictions, but it's definitely leaning into
And
being
I
the more
believe as
exciting.
well. I believe this is Ben Thomas's best season as a coach as well.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you might be right. I'll have your Curry level.
This is like an off the chart. What's the one hotter than
A foul.
I think it's a foul or something,
Yeah.
or Dal or something. Yeah, I think it's going to be spicy as they come.
A combined
But,
foul Vindaloo, that'd be blow your face
Hey,
off.
Pabz, did you see any of the stream last night?
No, I was too depressed.
James Hamilton was there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Fuck's
And
sake.
did you know that James Hamilton's been on a mainstream TV game show for the past month as well?
What, really?
Yeah, Trez told me. It's this show on Channel 4 that's been on.
Yeah, I heard about this. And Sean Myers was on Antidex Saturday Night Takeaway.
What?
Yeah, this
As
program.
basketball players or the new as like celebrities?
No.
As themselves.
Just it's a bit like when Ovi Soko was on Love Island. What's the name of this show? But it's apparently it's been huge. And James Hamilton was on it because he came in the game laughing the other day. I'm like, what are you laughing at? He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. I was watching James Hamilton on TV. I'm like, what? And sure enough, James Hamilton has been on a mainstream game show.
Well, I'm a big fan of James Hamilton.
Well, we all are. I mean, what a great player he was. But they were talking about that season where they just swept everything.
The jet wash. What a team that was.
Yeah, I mean, God.
Imagine that team in Europe. Jesus.
To win all four. You know what I mean? I mean, that was a team.
John McCord, phenomenal. One of my favourite players of all time.
This incarnation of Chester's about to lose first round of the playoffs.
Oh, here we go. Go on then.
Oh, come on.
See, to be honest, this could come down to who's got the most fit bodies.
Very true. Very true.
Like, Cheshire had 6 guys play minutes for them. The guys sitting, we had 4 guys sitting out.
Did they still get the win just with 6 guys? And obviously Leicester rested guys, but that's still not. That's quite impressive.
Tempting Fortune is the name of the TV show.
All right, cool. Well, everybody look for that. I'll check that out definitely.
But then, listen, this is who we have sitting out for us at the moment, of who sat out Sunday, 2 of which have been kind of long-term injuries. Ali Fraser, one of the best 4 or 5 guys in the league when he's fit. Patrick Tape, probably one of the most impressive rookies, 4 or 5 guys in the league. David Sloan, one of the most impressive guards in the league. And Scotland's own Kyle Jimenez is probably one of the best guard defenders in the league. So all 4 of them were sitting out yesterday. And you're like, that's a pretty impressive starting 4. Add a wing to that, you're like, that's a quality team. So we've got banged up bodies. Cheshire banged up bodies. So it could come down to who can... And also the turnaround from that game, Friday night 7:30 to Saturday 3:00. So it's who can recover the best after the first 40 minutes. Could be the decisive factor. So that's where your marginal gains chat comes all in, but that's boring for this time of night. I honestly think I'm going down the Pecora line. You know what? This game has the possibility to be the complete bag of mixed Pecora that you've just been buzzing for. It's going to have a little bit of everything. The sauces are going to be good. You're thinking, is this just going to be my starter? But it's going to be starter, main course, and you're going to have stuff left over for round 2. Like, I honestly think this game has so much right on it with the added narrative of the trophy final, the added kind of revenge tour, or can the Gladiators keep doing it? The matchups have been, again, they've played each other 5 times this season. All of them have been, 2 have been blowouts either way. The other one's been pretty close, and then obviously the trophy final. There was not much points between them in the kind of added on together. So this could come down to the last minute of round 2 in Glasgow at about 4:45 on Saturday afternoon. So tune into YouTube for that one. And
if you take nothing else away from this, then we know that you may be a fan of Pakoras. I think that could be.
I'm a big fan of a Pakora, to be honest.
Could be the biggest takeaway from this. Myself and Ads, I think we're agreed. We're looking at Vindaloo kind of far level of excitement for this one particularly. We'll predict those a little bit later on. That's our look at the first round, if you like, of the playoffs. Obviously, all those fixtures coming up thick and fast because the final's not far away now. Just a couple of weeks, essentially. 14th of May at the O2. I've put in for my media accreditation. You guys done the same?
Shit, what's the deadline?
I don't know.
I've done mine. I feel like the deadline's passed, but I'll find out.
I've done mine. I put you in one of our letters, so maybe, who knows? Ads is frantically checking that. It's.
I thought you did it first time, Ads. Well, you were the one that shared it.
Put it in the thing.
know. I'm the dickhead that shared it and then forgot to do it.
Well, we'll keep you posted on that. That'll be a live update on the show. We got a couple of fan questions coming up. Let's try and do. It's going to be tough for me to do a BTR 5 because if I'm honest, I watched one game.
Oh, Ad, you've got time. Deadline's Friday. You've got time, Ads.
There you go. You're all right, Ad. Oh. So from this week, the last BTR 5, you guys are going to have to throw names at me because I'd literally just be going off of the stat sheet. The only. Well, I would have put Hassan French in there 100% because the guy was absolutely dominating down at Pavilions. Of course, injured going into that, or just before even the second half. So I'd be happy to put him in there. But the way Ben Motford shot the ball for me is a shout for the for BTR 5. And then of course Justin Gordon, who's just phenomenal. 18 points, 12 rebounds, and the guy. Played a bit of point guard, played a bit of forward, played a bit of centre as well when French went, and 33 minutes. So they're my 3 knocks on it because that's the only game I saw. So Jordan, French, and Mockford. Fellas, help me out.
Right. I'm going for Moso Loade. I thought he was incredible. Larry Austin Jr., Justin Gordon. So when you're trying to remember, there was loads of games this week. Absolutely tons of games, wasn't there? Who played that game for Bristol? Oh, Jelani Watson-Gale. He's been good in Bristol's 2 games. And I'm going to go with... I want to go one more Lions player. Who am I going to go for? You know what? I'm choosing Tariq Phillips. Seen him back, what he's had to go through to get back on court, to compete, to be.
Yeah, nice shot.
I just think the guys worked hard. London have obviously kept the faith as well to keep him on the roster. They could have easily have cut him, been injured pre-season or before the league even started. That he may not have done it scoring-wise in either game he played, but he's just back. He's playing minutes. It's brilliant to see him on court. And yeah, so that's my 5. So Phillips, Solowade, Larry Austin, Watson-Gale, and Justin Gordon.
Lovely. Ads, any additions?
Justin Gordon.
Lovely. He's in then.
Larry Austin Jr.
Looks like Larry's in as well.
McFoley.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously Mark Loving. And
Did he even play?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He got 11
Yeah,
points.
he didn't play so much yesterday, but he had a top game the other night.
He did have a good game the other night. You're right. Actually, I forgot about that. I saw the stats on that one.
And I'm giving David Ulf some love because he was incredible yesterday, and I love his work ethic, and he's a great human being. So yeah, I'm showing Ulfie some love.
So we then, fellas, have a dilemma. Justin Gordon definitely in. Larry Austin.
We can't not have McFoley in it. Shit, that's the biggest performance of the season by anyone.
I might need to swap out someone then because I don't know why I totally forgot that.
We go McFoley in definitely then.
Yeah, you've got to have that. That's some performance, some night.
All right, McFoley's in, so we need two more. And of the two spaces we've got left to fill, we have French, Mockford, Solowadi, Jelani Watson-Gale, Tariq Phillip, Mark Lovin and David Ulf. Who are we going for, fellas? Maybe you can pick one each. Let's be diplomatic.
Well, I get what you're saying about Tariq Phillip, but stat-wise...
Yeah, I'd happily say we rule out Tariq, but give him a shout for getting...
Oh, yeah, honourable mention.
Sure.
Honourable mention.
Pick one each, fellas. Ads, who do you want?
Out of who?
So, out of your choices, I guess, but the ones on the board are French, Mockford, Solowadi, Jelani Watson-Gale. Well, McFoley's in already. Hang on. Mark Lovin and David Ulf.
Mark Lovin.
Okay. Grant, my man.
Oh, wow. I knew you were going to say that as well, lads, but I'm still in shock. I was like, oh. I'm going to go for most.
Do you want to know something really funny? I've never met Mark Lovin.
Well, we'll try and make that happen.
I've never spoke to. I've been at many games he's played in, but I've never spoke to him. And I just feel like I'm going to say something stupid like,
I love
"Hey,
you.
Mark, you're my favourite player in the BBL."
You're my number one.
Yeah, and he'll just look at me and be like, "Who's this?"
Who the fuck's this guy? Yeah.
Oh, are you that guy that puts me in team of the week even if I didn't play?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Go on then, Grant. Who's yours?
Yeah, I'm choosing Mo Solowadi.
Okay. Let's just fire those off quickly again so we know. Justin Gordon, Larry Austin Jr., McFoley, Mark Loving, and Solowadi. There we are. Another BTR 5 is in the books. We'll do predictions in a second. Let's do the questions first. We're heading to the business end of the podcast, so to speak. We've got 2 or 3 questions, I think, from fans this week that we've pulled off the email and off the Discord channel. First one up, Ads, maybe you can fill us in or fill in the question. I didn't write down who wrote the question. I apologise. I always do that. Sorry. Should the Giants be worried that an administrator has been appointed over the last 2 weeks? Concerned question emailed in earlier this week. Ads, my man.
See, administration's a funny thing because basically what happens is in the normal world, you look at what assets you have, how much your assets are worth, and you usually make an offer to the pound, if that makes sense. In other words, if you have stock per se, you offer 10p in the pound for the assets. That's not really the case with the basketball club in the BBL because unless you own your own venue and a bunch of assets belong to you, then there's nothing really there to do that. So what you're looking for is somebody who's willing to kind of pick up the tab from where the BBL have been propping it up this year.
Okay.
And go, we'll take a chance on that. Does it worry me? Not really. Because
that's just how it has to be, I guess, yeah.
That's just how it has to be. I mean, There's two things that can happen. Somebody comes in and invests, which obviously would love to happen if it's the right person this time, because we know what a bad choice it was last time. Or the BBL after whoever is propping it up, the BBL or 777, whatever, have got a decision to make. Do they want the actual most important basketball city in the UK to have a club?
Very good question.
Because I'm telling you now that whatever people think about London being the big market and London being this, that, and the other, Manchester's heritage in this game is far, far bigger.
Well, especially when you look back at Lions' history. Not to nitpick, but they've not had the success, if you like, the Giants had. Giants had their struggles. It's not, but obviously going back, they were a solid outfit. Like you say, and the fan base there is really good as well.
Well, that's the thing. We've got a fan base for a start that we didn't pay for.
But you did at some stage, or have had to do something to get them in. But anyway,
you'd be surprised about the love of the game in Manchester, Grant.
That's okay. I think we've covered that one. Question 2: which players? I don't know who this was from. Again, sorry. Which players are the most marketable for the BBL moving forward? Looking at the coming seasons and the number of talented players we've got in the BBL, which ones are going to be the ones that are put? I really like that new VT, by the way, the new the one that starts off with a kid on an outdoor court and they're all wearing the different jerseys.
Now
it's really good. I enjoyed that, and then it flash back and it's Jimenez, isn't it? Who grabs the ball.
Yeah, it's cool.
Does a bit of a dribble, passes it off. I enjoyed that. That was very good. And some of the guys in that clip, obviously Ramon Fletcher's in there, among others. All guys that can be marketable. Grant, my man, let's start with you. Who for you is the most? Well, not most, but who are the guys that the league should be looking at to sell to people?
I mean, the obvious one. And if he's staying around the league for a year or some more, or 2 more years, or whatever, then like if we're trying to appeal the game and to our kind of more global audience and reach further afield, and we spoke to him at the Cup final, and you hear how he speaks in the press, but Sam Beckers, you can't not be impressed by him as a marketable asset. There's probably guys down every roster that you would look at. I always think, you look at Leicester, they've got guys like Patrick Whelan from having a kind of top NGB guy point of view. I think you look at guys, who else is there? Like Jelani Watson-Gale, players like that who can kind of come in and just add excitement. Taj Green kind of people as well, you're able to just kind of build off dunks. Sharma as well then in that sense, because some of the highlight plays they can do. But then if you need people to be voices, Ramon Fletcher's no better one as well, because the guy just speaks so well about British basketball. The guy is totally in the kind of culture of what it means to play, having played obviously for a gazillion years in Newcastle. I just feel like there's a lot of players that differently. I speak to the guys at Gladiators, and one thing I've noticed over the last couple of years is how much better even guys like Fraser Malcolm, the more they've kind of played, the more they've kind of got used to speaking to more people. Like people like Fraser Malcolm speaks brilliantly. And why wouldn't you want young players to see, or young people to see, athletes like Fraser, and who even Johnny Bunyan's are very much a motivational or inspirational kind of character as well around the league, or around for a lot of people as well. So yeah.
That's one, man.
Depends what market you're going for, really, but there's enough guys around that are British that you could market the hell out of this league with, and you could do it big time if you wanted to. because all you got to do is look at guys like Patrick Whelan, Jamal Anderson, Tariq Phillip, but then you look at guys like Luke Nelson.
Yeah.
You look at Kane Henry, who won the gold with Jamal and Orlan, and the last guy on my list, Miles Hessen. Now, you told me those are names that you can't make something out of if you wanted to. Yeah. And you put those guys at the forefront of the league and go, right, this is the BBL, okay? These are British guys, and these are British guys that have done this, and this, right? Because it seems like, much like when the women won the Commonwealth silver medal, British sport just doesn't seem to get behind it. So now that we've got an entity like 777 who seemingly have the cash to start putting money into promoting this league, well, you've got it right there. I've written up a draft a couple of times and even joked around with Vince that you could have a Manchester Giants team that would give any team in the BBL a scare, mainly featuring guys from Manchester. If you look down a roster and you saw names like Patrick Whelan, Jordan Whelan, Aaron Menzies, Jamal Anderson, obviously he's not originally from Manchester, but Manchester is now home for him. And you had a veteran like Callum in there as well. Nathan Robinson, dual passport, born in Britain. That's not a shabby roster of players that are all from the Manchester area. Okay, so if it was me that had millions of pounds to invest in the Giants, I'd be all over it, doing it that way. Okay, if you're wanting to use international players, for me, it's even easier than that. There is more to this league than Sam fucking Decker. There just is. I understand what he's brought to the league and all that, but in terms of a personality and being the guy that you want representing the BBL, Grant's just said it, Fletch. If you want to go down that route of a veteran promoting the league, who better than Ramon Fletcher, the two-time MVP, won everything, is still giving buckets, still giving numbers, and he's one of your main people that you market. But then underneath that, you've got guys like, well, here's a few names I've just scribbled down while Grant was talking: Justin Gordon, Taj Green, Larry Austin Jr., Sloan. There's plenty of guys that are very, very marketable. So, there seems to be this feeling that Sam Decker is the BBL. And he isn't. It's a lot deeper than that.
Do you think there's an element of, you could look at it two ways, so kind of, if you like, existing fans in the BBL, to which players like Ramon Fletcher, players like Dirk Williams, the Del Pesh brothers even, because they've got some great marketability about them as well. We've not kind of mentioned them, and that, the recurring meme of the Spider-Man thing. Every player and every kind of market share for their area has got marketability, but when it comes to the global stuff, it seems to be that Decker is kind of the man.
Because he gives it kind of a legit presence. The guy's been played legit NBA stuff, and you've seen his VT did with London. He's bought into their culture. He's bought into a kind of whole idea and ideology of kind of building a game, and he seemed like he's coming up to Glasgow, and okay, he could be as part of the contract, but London didn't bring all their guys up. Like, Oni travelled up, Oni was suspended. Oni's come up north. Like, so it's obviously like part of their kind of thing, but he could have just sat aside, but he was dressed in London gear. He was there supporting the guys on the bench. He was help rebounding the ball.
Credit Tariq Phillip as well. He's done that all year long.
Say again, sorry?
Credit Tariq Phillip as well. He's done that all year long. It's been brilliant.
But you're talking about a guy who's a legit in this league leading player who could have been, we've seen so many kind of prima donna type players over the years come in from America who think they're too good and beyond to speak to press at finals or to interact with the fans. You don't get that with him. You do not get that with him.
Yeah, but is this him for the season? Is he coming back next year? If he's been in the league for 3 years, then you're going, right, okay, this guy could be the face of the BBL. But at the moment, we're talking about a guy that's played under 20 games in the league because EuroLeague's been seemingly more important to them than the domestic league.
That's an interesting point as well. The fact that he's been so kind of epic and had to be in Europe, was the leading scorer across Europe as well. That's probably translated worldwide a bit better than what he's done in the BBL per se, which is ultimately why when we've discussed MVP, BTR MVP at least, that we don't feel like he's played enough games or necessarily against the opposition of the BBL had to perform to the same level.
I'll put it another way. Okay, right. So the basketball aficionado, which I like to think that we are, Decker is a great player. Okay, everything that Josh Bett said last week about his game. Yeah, he can control a game at any given moment. He's got that beautiful mid-range jump shot. He's good under the basket. He can shoot from outside. He's a great passer. He's a great player. There's no doubt about it. But what are kids and young people watching the game more turn to? A technician who's brilliant like Decker, or a guy like Taj Green that throws the ball off the backboard during a game and dunks the ball.
That's in that VT as well. I enjoyed that. That was amazing.
And you're telling me that Taj Green isn't one of the most marketable people in the BBL?
But no one said that. We've said Taj Green. All of us have said that Taj Green would be pretty good.
No, I'm just saying that if we're talking about between Decker and other players, who is the only player to my knowledge this year who's managed to cross over into mainstream media because they were playing that dunk on the BBC, on ITV, Sky Sports. It went viral.
But you could then say David Sloan is, because that game-winning shot in the trophy final has been shown everywhere and was on Sports Bible and all that stuff. So all these guys have different reaches.
Sloan was in my list as another guy that you could market.
But as a presence and as a figure, he's get the fact that only a few years ago this guy was playing legit NBA time on a squad. I just think, I'm not saying he's the only one. I'm saying he is a big factor in what's happening. He is. We can say whatever, but let's be honest, everyone was excited to see what Sam Decker could do for London, what he could do in what his level in the BBL is, and it might just be the times I've seen him against my team, but I've not seen a guy take over a game like that in the BBL in a winning team for years. That's just my opinion. And the way he speaks, whether it's courtside, off the court, and obviously you can tell he's very much media trained because he's been a top athlete, so he's had to be in it, and it comes across like that.
I think plenty of food for thought there in terms of who is kind of marketable. For the BBL
there's so many guys marketable in our league, and that's where, the fact that we're having actually quite a good debate on this. And if we're talking about one guy, fair enough, but there's actually, and this just probably says a lot of things about what we're saying. Like Ads has said about guys in the past being you could have a team from Manchester. Well, we don't. Even before 777, with 777, our clubs on their own, even national federations. We don't really kind of celebrate our guys enough. The guys, the four guys who won England the medal at the Commie Games, the girls who won medals at Commie Games, we don't shout about them enough.
No, we don't.
Those guys are absolute inspirational ballers. Those guys and girls have done amazing things.
There's actually a really simple test that you can do, but unfortunately you can't do in this country. And it works off things like jersey sales. If jerseys were readily available to buy throughout the season, online at clubs with players' names on the back, you look at which jersey kids are buying, and I'm telling you now that I don't think Decker would be the most popular selling jersey in the BBL.
No, you're probably right. Just because of each club's sort of own feel on it.
Yeah, but in terms of like overall popularity, you know, you're looking at a guy like Fletch. Everybody loves Fletch.
I'll be honest. I think weirdly, and people are going to say it's probably a bias to you, but it's not. Obviously, Dusha sells his own T-shirts and he sells them countrywide. I'll be quite honest with you. BBL fans across the land are buying LVC LVC Dusha T-shirts.
You know, there's guys whose jersey you would buy because of who they are and what they've done. I'd buy an LVC Dusha T-shirt jersey. I'd also buy a Johnny Bunyan jersey. But, you know, if I know that me as a young guy, the only jersey I'd want to be wearing would be Fletch, Dirk Williams or Taj Green. Now, the fact that they all happen to be Giants doesn't really matter because if you remember back to pre-season, when I literally begged Dirk Williams to come and play for the Giants before we knew he was going to.
So it was you that gave him the 2-year contract then?
Phenomenal.
Yeah. But do you not remember how that panned out? We did a show
brilliant.
where I begged him to come to Manchester, and the next day they announced that they'd signed Dirk Williams.
Great work, sir. Great work.
You know, so when Dirk played for London, if you could go out and buy a Dirk Williams jersey from him, you know, would have, but I'd have probably. Oh God, he's played for 2 teams that I both dislike: Sheffield and London. He's an exception to the rule.
Right, fellas, let's move on. Let's have a little chat about the last question. This might be a bit easier. Maybe not.
Before you end it, end this one, can you do one of those polls this week? Whose jersey would you buy?
God, there's only 4 options.
Is there?
On poll on Twitter, you're going to get 4.
Right, okay.
We'd have to have some sort of face-off. Maybe try and do a couple of rounds. Do 2 polls of 8. One from each team. One from each. Yeah.
Let's just do a bracket.
Do a bracket. One from each team. That's 8, isn't it? No, it's 10, isn't it? Oh, that's it. I can't add up. Anyway, we'll work it out one way or the other. Last question: would the 41-0 Hemel squad from the NBL be a BBL playoff team this season? I'm going to start things off and say I think Derby Trailblazers would have been a playoff team this season, based on what we saw from them. But fellas, is that something that's fair to assume? Grant, my man, I've got to add. Yeah,
Ad, you go first if you want.
No, I was just going to say, having had first-hand experience of every team in D1 this year, there's a few that could potentially have done that. Hemel for sure, because they were incredible. Worthing Thunder, Derby Trailblazers.
Good old Thunder, yeah.
You know, even Reading Rockets.
Oh, really?
D1 is a tough league. A very, very tough league. And when you look at the top there and you've got Hemel at 26-0, and tragically, my Magic 4-22, you know, it's a tough league. D2's a tough league. People underestimate just how tough the National League is, and it's a conversation we don't need to be starting now because we'll be here till next week talking about why some of these teams aren't in the BBL, and that's maybe something that the league should look at in terms of investments, etc. But yeah, Hemel for sure. Why not? Why not?
Grant, my man.
I think it's really tough to a team. Could, but when you look at schedules, availability of players, facilities, and the level of guys being able to compete in say the BBL
consistently,
there is talent in the NBL that could 100% play BBL. Could full teams move up and compete? Well, we saw obviously Solent do pretty well in a trophy a few years ago. Derby this season. But they tended to come through and had maybe one-off big games to get through a round in these competitions. So
I don't know. I'm always one that I don't obviously know NBL as well as ads or other people, and I would always be curious to see how these teams would do or take. And this is where you'd maybe like teams to take a risk with British talent to give maybe some of these guys playing NBL a chance, but not just you can come train, but like give them actually a legit chance to make squads and actually have the ability to go out and play maybe meaningful minutes eventually in the BBL because they can work hard. There's no doubt about it. You get better playing a sport, and Pabz, you know this. You get better playing with better players.
Oh, God, yeah.
If you look down, I've just got the stats up for D1 for last year, and if you look down the list of some of the guys in there, there's a lot of very familiar names, guys. Guys that could still be in the BBL. You know, I'm talking guys like Orlan Jackman is a star in that league.
I'd love to see him back in the BBL.
Raheem May Thompson.
He's phenomenal.
There's a guy at the Storm called Taylor Johnson, but going down the list again, Jordan Whelan has been a bucket, 20 points a game. He was doing that in the BBL last year, if you remember. There's guys throughout that league. Even on the Magic team, you've got guys that have played in the BBL. Andre Gale, for me, I've not really announced it or done anything, but I'm about to make Andre Gale my Manchester Baller of the Year.
Oh, sweet.
Because bless him.
Is that an exclusive?
Yeah, it is an exclusive.
Don't get many of them, do we?
No, because Andre has had to carry such a huge load this year, and that guy is just such a baller. I love that guy, and he played with the Giants years ago. So there's guys all over the league, and I'm talking that Magic being the bottom of that table to go right the way up to the top of that table, and you've got guys that have all been in the BBL and been legit players in the BBL, and the top teams also have American imports that are paid.
Yes.
So that's the problem. Is there's such a big divide because Magic just don't have that sort of budget to pay the players what Hemel, Worthing, and those teams can pay him, which is such a shame.
It is, isn't it? It's the age-old thing. Yeah.
So many guys. I mean, Bailey Goodall, one of my favourite basketball players in the world, and you may not remember him from the BBL, but he had a season as one of the rookies at the end of the Giants bench. But at National League, this guy's like the Dennis Rodman of National League basketball, the guy that everyone hates to play against, but you want him on your team. So there's some tough players in the NBL and some tough teams, and they get slept on, in terms of the divide between the BBL and the National League. And I'm here to tell you that there's 4 teams in that D1 last season that would more than hold their own in the BBL.
Well, there we are. That's our view on it. You may have a different one. You can always hit us up on Twitter at Below the Pod. Have your say. But for now, I'm afraid it's time to shift it along now to the Predictions League and the end of the regular season, and just see how we all fared in that one. Let's go through the fixtures that were on there. So the first one on the docket was Gladiators Eagles. I was the only one to pick the Eagles, which meant at that stage I closed the gap. We all picked Flyers in their game against... Was that against Surrey? It must have been, yeah. And the Flyers took that one. We all picked Lions, except for Nicholson, poor old Nicholson. He took the Pats. Sharks. Oh, go on, sorry.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
No one say what it is, but has anyone just seen the message that's coming on the group chat?
That's why I went, oh, Jesus.
No? Oh, not a chance.
Do it.
Fuck. No, I'm not. It's nearly fucking midnight. We'll never get rid of him.
Those listeners that want to know what the hell we're talking about.
Everybody loved Josh Bett last week. I had numerous people.
Seriously. Many people.
Where is he?
We've just had a message pop up in the Below the Rim group chat.
And here he is,
Bett.
Mr. Josh Bett, late to the party.
Where are you in the world?
What's up, fellas?
It's nearly fucking midnight.
Where am
Here
I?
he is.
It's actually 1:30 midnight where I am right now.
Go to bed.
Where are you? You look like you're
I'm at the airport.
You're in an airport.
I'm in Croatia. I'm going to visit my my cousin tomorrow. So I was listening to your take on. I was waiting for Pabz to let me in because it said only the host can see you. So that's why I was like, "Let me in." Let me in.
I've not got it open on the page. In all fairness, but yeah, it was that they told me. They told me it'd come on the group chat. All right, we're just going through the predictions league.
I know. Let's do it, man. The predictions are going to be very interesting.
Well, no, we're looking at who won.
Regular season.
Oh, have you guys gone over the symmetrical thing that Dan Routledge put on Twitter?
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Right, I've totaled it up.
Can I just...
Nicholson finished with 109 this season. Ads 114.
Well done, Ads. Well done. What a comeback. What a comeback.
Pabz 123.
Oh, Pablo.
Does that mean
the
that
only thing was
Roddy Piper has won?
I drew close with a couple, you see. Oh, hang on, no. What was I on? Balls. What was I on before?
You just said 1, 2, 3.
119, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, I thought I'd given myself too many, but I haven't. It's right. And you finished the season on 125. You kept the 2-point lead.
What a competition!
I drew one back. Couldn't get it over the line. So, congratulations, Grant Young, the Predictions League champion, and here to accept his award is the brave-hearted man himself.
In his rookie season.
Yeah.
His BTR.
Beginner's luck. Well done. You alright? You happy with that? Look at his little face. His little competition winner. Look at him.
I just don't lose. I just don't lose in this show when it comes to like winning stuff.
Wow,
like,
you got lucky with a couple, but yeah, well
won
done.
the trophy final. Won a few quizzes.
Yeah,
sure.
Like, yeah.
Hey, you just need to watch more games.
Sorry, Grant. I was just petting my bearded dragon while you were having your moment. I'll be right back.
Steady.
Oh, is that a metaphor? Yeah. Careful.
That sounded a bit dodgy, that did. Bearded dragon.
Well, this leads us to the playoffs now. Playoff predictions.
Hey, Josh, you're in for this one.
Yeah, let's get Josh in this one.
Oh, did you guys see my prediction I put on Twitter already?
No.
What? The first time or the second time?
The second one, because obviously I got it messed up. Credit to me. Credit to my dignity. I didn't delete that first tweet. I just kept it up there so people could say, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He can't even get it right.
Oh, you had a bit of a Drew Lasker moment, did you?
I had a Josh Bett moment.
Very diplomatic. Well done. So, let me just bring up the playoff fixtures list as they are. We've already talked about which games we think are going to be a bit tasty. Which ones have... So
I want to know your predictions. Did you guys already predict this?
Well, this is what we're going to do now. So the first one up is 27th, which is Thursday. Ads said already, which you'll be at. I imagine you'll be there, won't you, Ads?
Yes.
Giants taking on the Bristol Flyers. Giants, the home team, going to need to try and take some sort of advantage back with them to Bristol. Go on, Ads.
Pabz, are we going to do this? Predict
each game,
the game, and any overall.
Oh, that's a good question.
I think we need to just predict the series, surely.
Well, I was going to say each game because then there's more up for grabs. But I'm easy.
I'll go series.
You want to do series, Grant? You want to do series?
Yeah.
It's not a dictatorship. Series it is then. So what we got? We got Giants or Flyers. Ads, my man. The Giants going to do it.
Yes, they are.
Ads is certain on the Giants there. Josh, what do you reckon?
Okay, so Giants are what? How many games have they lost in a row recently?
6.
Yes, okay, so here's my thing. Are they in the best form going into the playoffs? Absolutely not. They're struggling. But again, as you've seen this team more than any of us have seen all season, they are offensively the highest scoring team in the BBR. Am I correct or am I wrong on that?
Correct.
This, and I said this on Twitter last night with Dan Routledge, I said, this team reminds me of Vince McCauley's Lions in 2014-15 with Zaire Taylor, Mikael Stibbins, some of the other players I can't name off by heart because it's half past midnight right now. But I've got a feeling, come 2 legs, is it still aggregate now in the BBL?
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. It's not a series.
Just to help you out, I've already said that I think it'll be a game apiece and it'll be an aggregate score that Giants
And
win.
again, I agree with you, Ads. I think you're absolutely right on that one. And I just have a feeling that in the Manchester game, that's when they're going to take care of business. I think the away game obviously will go in favour of the Flyers, but something just tells me, my brain says Bristol because they've played better over the regular season, but something in my gut tells me in this playoff series, either Ramon or Dirk they're going to have like a high percentage shooting night. They're going to just shoot the lights out. It's going to be a good shooting night for them. I probably could be wrong on this, but I've just got a strong feeling Giants it will be raining up in Manchester.
Grant, my man, you zagging on that one?
I can't believe going for Bristol's a zag, though. I think Bristol will win over 2 games. I think Bristol will win both games.
You reckon they win both?
Yep.
Wow. Flyers for Grant. It's turned out to be a huge zag because I'm going to go Giants because I'm not betting against Ramon.
It's very diplomatic.
Well, he's that. Even so much so that I wrote, instead of writing Flyers in the column there for Grant, I wrote Fletcher.
Pabz, can I ask you a question about Flyers?
Fire away.
And I want your opinion on this. Do the Flyers kind of remind you of the old school Thames Valley Tigers? Seem to be very good in the regular season and seem to have good games, but come playoff time, it seems to be like something that I don't know.
Yeah, 92, 93, 94, yeah.
Yes. And I've noticed this in past years. Do you remember before COVID when they knocked out London City Royals in the Cup, was it quarterfinal or semi-final?
Right,
They looked unstoppable, but then they went to the final and it was just nothing seemed to click that day.
Yeah, got beat by
and
Worcester,
I've got a feeling
there's
something about Bristol. It's almost like a voodoo. I've got it. And again, I'm not basing this off any educated opinion. I'm not guessing this off any stat. Something just tells me, come the knockout stage, because they beat Giants in the playoffs last year. Is that correct?
Oh, now you're asking. Yeah, they got to the semis. Yeah, that's right.
And then they knocked out Giants, didn't they? Well, you weren't at the games, were you, Ads? You were still you were still
banned.
I was still watching in the car park.
So this is my thing about Bristol. The regular season, they've been a great team. They've played good basketball. I mean, they're one of the teams that have beaten the Lions twice, both at home, which is a huge accolade to take away. But something just tells me that postseason is just. I don't know. I know everyone's going to jump on me, and please feel free to call me a blockhead. But I've got a feeling Giants are going to win this over 2 games.
See, I would agree with you had this been every other normal Bristol season. I feel this season they're just different. This is a different Flyers team. They play different to any other Capoulas type team, and I think this will be Capoulas' biggest test in the postseason because every other time, just what you said, they've been a regular season team. But I just feel this season, like I've hated on Bristol all season, predicted them to finish 9th at the start of this season, but I just feel there's something different about this Bristol team that I think that's what will take them through.
One last thing I just want to put this, because I know you want to move on with this, Pabz, and I do sorry to prolong. Last thing I'm going to talk about this series is that, look, this is postseason. There's nothing really in terms of X's and O's you can learn about the team that you've played however many times during the regular season. They've probably played each other, I don't know, quite four times in the regular season. Both coaches know what the other team's game plan is, both on the offense and the defense. So there's not much more you can take away from game team. There's not much more you can learn unless a new player comes in. And the only thing I'll say with this is, yes, Bristol have been probably a better team, But when you have an offensive team that is lethal as the Giants, that's my worry, because with the Giants, they're like a bag of rebels. When they're good, they are exceptionally good. But when they're poor, they're just very, very poor because it's down to the defense. So I think when you have a team that's that unpredictable, that might go in their favor here in a playoff series.
Hey, listen, I'm worried about that. You got the Forrest Gump reference. I'm worried now for Bristol.
Did Forrest Gump eat bag of rebels? Or just
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know which one you're going to get. It's very similar. I'm a fan of it. Don't get me wrong. Coffee ones I'm not so keen on, if I'm honest.
I hate rebels.
All right, let's move on. Eagles, Lions. Obviously, Lions. Well, yeah, Lions playing the home leg second. Managed to make things work in terms of venue. Are we all going Lions across the board on this one?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, Sam French is out as well. You can't.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Drew Lasker made an interesting tweet. Right, Drew made a very interesting tweet. I think it was either yesterday or today.
Interesting. He did.
He did.
Not funny. It's just interesting.
It's not exclusive.
No. He made a good point. He made a very valid point. He said that Newcastle are a better matchup for the Lions than Plymouth were. Right. While I agree with him to some extent, you also got to remember Sam French is out, so there's a key player down for you. And in a game where you're like fighting against an almighty opponent you can't take down, you've got one player less. I'm sorry, Newcastle have no chance. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how this series goes. Newcastle will this will be over after the first game.
Yeah, it could be a tough watch. We'll see how that unfolds. Obviously, first leg is on the 28th. Sheffield Sharks, Leicester Riders. Let's guess the series on that. Who hasn't gone first yet? Grant, my man?
I think this will come down to aggregate score, and I think... Who do I think? Changing my... I was see when we just came, I was like, please don't ask me first because I think I'm going to choose Sheffield, but I think I'm going to change and go, I don't know, I'm going to go Leicester.
Well, you were big on the Sharks when we were talking about it earlier.
I know, but... screw it then, I'll stick to that. Let's go Sharks. Sharks, aggregate score.
The reigning prediction champion is gone for the Sharks. Ads, does that sway you in any way?
I'm going for playoff upsets galore. No, I'm not.
No, you picked Flyers.
I picked Flyers.
That was the Zag because everyone else picked Giants. Which is weird, isn't it?
You go first, Pabz. I'm still thinking.
I'll go Riders. I do think it will be a close affair, but I think the Riders will have a bit too much about them.
Oh, yeah, I thought the Riders. Thank you.
Josh, my man, what do you reckon? Sharks got enough to beat them?
This is an interesting one because if this was a regular season game, I would go with Leicester because Leicester are just better coached. And respect to a team of Lions, I think he's a great coach as well, but also better coached in the sense there's better players in total in that Leicester lineup as well. So I don't mean to say that the team is not as good a coach as Rob because I think he's a great coach. What I'm really mean to say is regular season, I would go with Leicester any day of the week. But having said that, yes, Sharks, I think they've lost the last 2 games, but I think they're 9-3 in the last 12. So they've been on a good form towards the end of the season. I just have a feeling with Leicester, they've lost the league to Lions. They lost the cup to the Lions. If they're to get to the final, it's almost like, well, here we go again. We're going to lose a third one to the Lions because we know that Leicester, as good as they are, they can't compete with this London team. Having said that, I just have something in my feeling that coming into this playoffs, there's just too much anxiety on Leicester. Do I think Leicester is a better team than Sheffield? Yes. Do I think they have a deeper roster that can outplay Sheffield in every position? Yes. But I think the anxiety coming into this series, I just think the confidence and the swag is going in favour of the Sharks right now. So I'm going with Sheffield.
Sharks, then, for Mr. Josh Bett, which leads us to the final prediction. Caledonia, this is the toughest one, I think. Caledonia.
Who are you picking there, Pabz? Sorry?
Did I not say? Riders. I've written it down. I said
Riders.
Yeah. All right, cheeky. I'm always there. Right. Don't worry. The last one, the most exciting one, potentially, from the weekend. Caledonia Gladiators And the Cheshire Phoenix go head-to-head, repeat at the trophy final, as you said before. Very close teams matched all season long, 2 for 2, or 2 and 2 in the head-to-head. And then obviously, game coming down to the final shot of the trophy final. There's not a lot between these two teams, the way they match up. Injuries could be the issue. Ads, we're going to go ads first this time. Ads, my man.
Jeez, this is tough.
Isn't it?
This is tough. I'm going to go Cheshire.
Ads goes with the Knicks. Josh, my man.
Well, Cheshire's without Taj Teague, aren't they?
Without Teague, are they again? Did we work out if Evans was back? Because Evans has missed a couple of games. Whether or not he's been rested, who knows?
I thought I was told that Teague was out for the rest of the season, which, if he is,
wow.
God rest, you know how much I love the Phoenix. You know, I am a Phoenix fan in disguise, especially love the Chester Jets rebranding.
Well, that was amazing.
Back.
Yeah,
and shout out.
That was good.
Shout out to all my guys there, you know, all my friends that, you know, work at the club, you know, they go back. But, you know, this will be the one time, and again, it pains me to say this because I love everybody at Cheshire. I've always backed them, but I've got to go Caledonia. Caledonia for this series, it's just, I almost feel like it's inevitable.
Yeah.
You know, they're just, but without Teague, and Teague is a massive loss to Cheshire. Do I want Cheshire to win? Yes. Do I think they can win? No.
Yeah.
Do they have Will Neighbour as well, or is he done?
Oh, yeah, Will Neighbour's been out as well. Well, there's talk of him being back for the playoffs, but you don't know, you know. It's only ever rumours and hearsay, isn't it? We never get a formal thing. I'm going Glads as well. Grant, my man, I'm assuming it's Glads for you.
Yeah, but I think it'll come down to aggregate score. The quick changeover in schedule as well from Friday night to Saturday afternoon is tough for any team. It's going to be 2 good games of basketball, though, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
David Sloan sat out Sunday against London just to rest. We rotated a lot of guys. I feel Cheshire have had to play a lot of games recently as well, and if they're struggling with players, if Teague's out, if Neighbour's struggling, Evans is struggling, it's going to come down who can keep a fitter 5 on court.
Well, there you go. Excellent stuff. That is, we've got that down in the books now. The congratulations again, Grant. Predictions regular season champion.
Here we go.
Well done, Grant.
And let's move on. Last leg, fellas. Last bit of the show. Last shout. We're going to do the quiz. This is going to be fun. Josh got to come in here and could nick this. You missed this last week, didn't you? Because you had to go. Josh, my man, we have a quiz.
Yeah, go on.
At the end of the show, it's always guess something. We've got to see particularly Grant Young's hands on this one because he has access to a file that could help him out. So, Mr. Young, no cheating.
Hey, I don't have. That's on my laptop. My hands are nowhere near that.
Good, no cheating from you. We're going to sit. We did points last week. We're trying to get the top 10 single game assist this week. I'm just going to make sure because some guys might be in there more than once. In which case, we need more than 10 because that'll take them off the board. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and an extra one there because we've had a couple that have done good. Okay, we've got the top 10 for assists for a single game high in assists. How many lives do you want for this? Because there's more of you now. 1 life or 2 lives?
2.
So this is one-off games.
One-off games, like last week. One-off games.
Is it this season or is it?
Yeah, just this season. No, just this season. Who's accumulated the most assists in a single game? There's a couple of guys that are in there multiple times, but they'll come off the board as soon as you say them. So it's not like you're guessing.
Let's
1
go
to
1
10.
life. Let's go 1.
You think?
I'll go 2.
I think 2 because it could be quite tough. Anyway, Well, it could be quite easy. Who knows? I don't know. 2 lives then. Predictions, champ. You're going first. How's that sound?
Brilliant. Dusha.
You're going LVC
That was my
Dusha?
guess. I was going to go Dusha.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I go for
Elvisi is off the board. Elvisi Dusha finished one game with 17 assists. And that, I believe, was his first double-double in the BBL. 16 points, 17 assists. Phenomenal stat from him.
I didn't think he would be the highest, so I'm now throwing.
Yeah, good man. I'm just checking the game ID to see if it was the same game. That I'm looking for some of these statistics because I know there was a couple that were of a similar ilk. Anyway, Ads, my man, you can go next.
Fletch.
Ramon Fletcher is indeed there. Congratulations. He's next on the list. 13 assists in a single game. Josh, my man.
He's Dusha. Oh god, you guys. Who do I pick then? Ben Mockford? No. Let me think about this. Shout out to Ben Mockford though. That guy can shoot the hell out of the ball. He's a great player, but oh shit! You just picked pretty much the two
obvious ones.
Yeah.
Well, because this is a tough one. Because the first player that comes to mind who is just known for his facilitation, his great passing, is Elvisi. But when I think Luke Nelson. All right, I'm going Luke Nelson. I'm going GB General, Iceman.
You can say that again, Luke Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh, he scrapes into the list because of the amount of assists he's got, and it drags him into because so many players that have achieved the same amount of assists, he creeps in because of the rest have come off the board. Luke Nelson had 11 assists in a game. Just seeing if he's got any higher than that. No, well done. He's crept in. You've kept all lives intact so far. So we've had... Hang on, let me write these down. Dusha, Fletch, and Luke Nelson. Back to you then, Grant.
Cohen.
Yeah, David Cohen's in there a couple of times. The highest he achieved was 13. Yeah, good one. Ads, my man.
Larry Austin.
Larry Austin, yeah, he's another one who got 13 assists in a single game. Well done. Your lives are intact. Good man.
I forgot about Larry.
Yeah, me too.
Josh, my man.
Oh, I guess it's been an interesting one. I know he definitely hasn't got as many probably in one game as those guys, but games I have watched, David Sloan's not a bad facilitator. How many Sloan got in one game?
Hang on, I've got to check the list. Sloan, you've lost Sloan is just outside the bracket. 10 assists is the most he's achieved. He's not made the 11. So JB, you're down to one life.
This is tough.
It is now, isn't it? I'm just going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left. I think we've had 5 already, yeah. So it's getting down to the wire now, fellas.
Is it back to me?
Yeah, it's back to you.
It must be a Raiders player. You know what? I feel like Carrington Love's been pretty good recently. I feel like he must have had a double-double. But if you said David Sloan didn't make it in 10, did he have if 11 makes it, because you said 11 made it for Nelson, was it?
Yeah, that's kind of the cut-off. Yeah.
I'm going Carrington Love then.
Well done. Carrington Love, 13 assists.
Jeez, I didn't think he was that high.
7 and 13, though. Not quite enough for a double-double. But yeah. Carrington Love is off the board. So we go to Ads.
Saeed.
Saeed as in Saeed Nelson.
Yes.
Let me check the list. Yeah, nice. 12 assists for Saeed Nelson.
Nice.
Let's take him off the board as well. Jesus, there's not many names left on there now. Josh, my man. This is your last life. This is to stay in it.
shit. Okay, I'm gonna have to make a wild guess and then. Watson Gale.
Jelani Watson Gale is not on that list.
Oh shit!
He's
God,
not
what
in that top
commentary
half either, as
Jesus
I'm looking
Christ.
at it now.
Jelani. What's the most he's had in a game then?
Looking at it, the most he's had is 9. There's a long list of players that managed 9 assists in a single game, but JB is out. The man, the myth, the legend. So for there's only a couple of names left on the board now. Grant, my man, back to you.
Kimball?
Kimball McKenzie.
I feel like...
No, Kimball McKenzie is not on the list. I'm trying to scroll down to see. No, I can't.
Can I have an extra life?
I can't see him anywhere on there, to be honest with you.
Have you missed Kimball out from the stats? Is that what you've done? It's your fault, not my fault.
Well, if you're going to make me
Pabz,
scroll down till I find one of Kimball McKenzie.
It's unacceptable.
Kimball McKenzie, 8 assists.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So but it's 8. There's been a lot with 9, there's a lot with 8. So Grant, you're down to 1 life. Adds, my man, it's over to you.
Wang.
Yes, nice. Pidet Wang.
I should have known that. How many was it? 13 that you got, or was it 12?
Wang's highest is 11. 11.
What
He
did
had
he do
2
to
games with 11 assists. Both games
Josh,
16 points, 11.
What?
Josh, what did he do to his leg?
Oh, it's something with the knee. I think I'm guessing that. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully he's okay for the World Cup.
Right,
Nice
over to
one,
me then.
lads. Back to you, Grant. Last life. This could be the first time you don't make it, and Ads will get to choose some.
Of old Lang Syne.
Ads will choose some weird Cuban dance mix that no one's ever heard of.
Cuban Fury.
What was it you were listening to that a few weeks ago now? You were listening to some Colombian offbeats or something. I can't remember.
He was listening to Cuban Pete, that song that Jim Carrey sings in The Mask. We're trying to go through.
Yeah.
I was watching that film. Do you remember that song? Where the police say, "They call me Cuban Pete." I love that. I love that. I was watching that film on the plane. I kept laughing, and everyone was looking around like, "What is wrong with this guy?" In Havana,
Well, whoever wins has got to
right
choose
now as well.
Whoever wins has got to choose that song now. Go on, Ads. What you got for me?
Is it my turn?
It is your turn. I'm just one.
Is it not
Only
mine?
one.
Did he not just say Wang? He got Wang.
Oh,
got
he
one.
did. Sorry,
Grant's
Grant,
turn.
my man. Hang on, there's
sorry,
2.
please.
I think there's 2 names we haven't got yet. 3 names. I apologise. 3 names.
I'm trying to think if one might be a former player in the league. Is that right?
Oh, you might be onto something there.
Oh, okay. That was.
Former player that left. Who's that?
I'm going to say Antonio.
Antonio Williams would be correct. 12 assists for Antonio Williams. He's holding on. There's 2 players left on the list. Go on, Ads.
It's got to be a London guy. I wonder if Decker's on there.
Jordan Taylor, maybe.
Or Jordan Taylor.
Jordan Taylor's not on there in terms of highs. You lose a life. Jordan Taylor did manage 10 assists, so he's not far off the list. But
Cut him some slack, actually, because I said the name and he repeated after me, so that might be good.
I was
for the day.
trying to think of that name.
both of you got 1 life left. Grant, my man. Guess a name. I don't know what accent that was. I apologise.
That sounded like Geordie.
It's
No,
weird,
I'd
isn't
say
it?
it was alright.
It's alright.
Guess a name, man.
I ain't mind it.
Oh, my, why I guess a name, man.
I'm worried that mine sounded a little bit like an Asian sort of rip-off.
When did
We get cancelled now.
Rad Jim, like with that Geordie accent.
Go on,
When did
Grant.
Dave Forrester step in with that Geordie accent?
Who do I want? Who do I think? I'm trying to think. Is it? Do I want to go? I'm between two. I'm going to go Cheshire Phoenix Evans.
Larry Austin is the only Cheshire Phoenix player in that top echelon.
Oh well.
So both your lines have gone for the win then, Ads.
You got to say it like Marv Albert. For the win! Yes!
If I could say it like Marv Albert, I'd still be doing it at the BBL.
Oh, bless you, man. You'll be back. Come on, you'll be back.
Patrick Whelan.
No, Patrick Whelan. These are two. I mean, they're two. One name I would have thought you guys would have got. The other one is a little bit more obscure. Back to Grant. Grant's got another chance.
It's just knockout situation now.
Yeah.
What was his name? Is it another ex-player from BBL?
I'm not saying any more.
No, you can't do that, Grant. That's not fair.
No, I know. That's not okay.
You did last time. Pabz gave you a bonus.
My bad. I slipped up. Yeah. I apologise.
Okay. That's exactly what I wanted to hear, though. I
just
want
have
to
some integrity. Do it the right way.
Integrity.
Have some dignity.
Integrity.
Just like sending in your predictions after the games have happened. It's fine.
Oh.
That's cool corruption.
I'm going to go Jalen Ray from Surrey.
Not Jalen Ray, I'm afraid. Ads, my man.
Jesus.
Andrew Lawrence.
Come on, just more so we can finish the show. Come on, man.
Andrew Lawrence.
Andrew Lawrence.
Andrew Lawrence. Brilliant, though.
I'm just running out. Is there a Bristol player involved in this somewhere?
Oh, well, possibly. It's only fair, Grant. I did it earlier on.
I know. I knew that was coming. It's as if he scurries through. Look at his face scurry through the Bristol roster.
And it's now midnight as well. Somebody's guessed Jelani already, so it's not him.
Vincent King.
Del Pesh.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Why did you say Capoulis then?
What's his name?
Joel Osborne.
Go on, it's on his lips. I heard him almost say it.
Mike Miller.
Yes! Well done, Ads.
Is it?
Mike Miller, 13 assists. Double for him as well. 17 points, 13 assists. There we are. Ads gets the win.
Yes, Ads.
Ads will choose the track that plays us out. Before that, thank you very much, fellas, for joining me on the show. Ads, my man, anything to plug before we go? I know you got the Final Fours coming up.
Yeah, it's Final Four weekend. It's the big one for me. It's my favourite weekend in the basketball calendar. I will be covering all 4 games on Sunday with Hooping Kazzy B.
You're not allowed to wear a hat, though, are you?
Hey, I can wear what I want for this one.
No, come on. You've been told you can't wear a hat. It's not professional. Come on.
Yeah, whatever. Final Fours, tune in. You're going to see the cream of the crop, and our club, the Magic and Mystics, have, I think, 5 teams in it, so hopefully a big weekend for them.
Nice. Grant, my man, anything to say before we go?
I mean, I just hope anyone listening who's got a team nearby in a playoff can get along and watch it. With such a short turnaround between like last games to the start of the playoffs, like get out, support your teams, and let's hope all 4 games we're talking about or all 8 games we're talking about next week are going to be absolute classics. And yeah,
good. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, sir. Mr. Josh Bett, thank you for joining us, my man, all the way live from Croatian airport.
I've got a story for you guys, by the way, and I hope this goes live on Below the Rim.
Go on. Are we allowed to keep this in? Am I allowed to keep this in?
Yeah, this is appropriate. Don't worry, we save the inappropriate when you stop recording.
All right. Good.
when I was at the Drazen Petrovic Museum today.
Oh, you made it. Good man.
Yeah, I was there for a good hour. It was great. I recommend anybody travel. It's the best, probably the best museum in the world. There was an Italian basketball journalist visiting, like I was, with his brother and sister. I had lunch with them afterwards, and the first thing he said to me was, "Oh, do you like British basketball?" I was like, "Yeah, of course, I love the BBL." He's like, "I just saw some tweet the other day. That's crazy about the symmetry of all the league's finishing standings." So that was Dan Routledge's tweet. And I meet an Italian journalist at the Drazen Petrovic Museum in Zagreb talking about that tweet.
Wow.
BBL, good to see some lovers getting out here in Europe.
That's insane. Dan Routledge stretches continents. That's incredible.
Yep. Now Dan's got to start learning how to speak Italian.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Terrell Myers, per vincere, andiamo.
That sounds better in a different language, Ads.
And Ads is going to learn how to cuss out in Italian after that.
Go on then, Ads. What are we playing the show out with, my man?
A Cuban remix of a song called Nah man, I'm feeling patriotic tonight. Not patriotic, what's the word? Because I just beasted it, I feel like a rock and roll star.
Oh, nice.
I think you know where we're going, Pabz.
I do. I've written it down already.
Blue Moon, you saw me standing alone. What is it?
Well, they'd be there for that, to be fair.
Yeah.
Bit of Oasis then, rock and roll star. Loving it. Do you want a live version?
No, the album version's fine.
Alright, okay, fine. I'll try and jazz it up a bit, but there you go. You try something and just falls flat, doesn't it? Fellas, thank you for joining me. Everybody at home, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week to talk more playoffs. Until then, take it easy. We'll speak to you soon.
Focus.
It takes maybe just 2 breaths with me.